Hey, I'm trying to work on the layout. I messed it up and I don't know how to get it big. Let's see, panel. Listen, turn it
And if
up.
ever you be sad,
East of time, sweet and honey, down the seven bridges
oh,
Yes,
it keeps jumping around.
I love
Oh
the
man.
music.
Oh, I do too. And my daughter surprised me with tickets to go see him, and she didn't tell me you were going to see. And I was talking to my brother on the way to the concert, and he goes, "Well, what's your favorite Eagles song?" I said Seven Bridges Road. I said I'm all about the harmony. And that's what they opened with. So I'm up on my feet. I'm up on my feet, and I got big ass crocodile tears just pouring down my face because I just can't
Aw.
believe this. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Heck
I got
yeah.
to see him three. I got to see him three times, so that was amazing. Yeah.
That's one of the best groups ever to me.
Well, and yeah, because like when you play the Eagles, you don't have to adjust anything on your stereo. You just put them on and play it, and it's perfect.
That's right.
And there's not a lot of bands. Floyd's like that. You don't have to adjust Floyd either. There's not a lot of bands that you can just put on and don't have to adjust something.
That's
But
true.
they're one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And what was so cool the first half of the concert, you could talk to each other and hear each other. But they took a break. Everybody went out to smoke or whatever. Came back, and then they cranked it up, and there was no talking to each other after
Yeah, they
that.
partied on, party people. Yes, indeed. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Been a long time
Um, I
since
had
we
a great
talked.
I had a great day. I was out at my brother's today. He has a farm about 7 miles away. Went out there for supper, and I took strawberry shortcake for dessert. And me and my nephew went and picked some mulberries. So I got fresh mulberries. They're so delicious.
Right on.
And
I've
yeah,
never
we just
had a
hung out.
mulberry. I don't think I've ever had a mulberry in my life.
Well, it looks just like a raspberry. Like I have them right here in my bag, but it looks just like a raspberry.
Oh,
Really?
wow. Okay, it looks like a blackberry.
Yeah, blackberry.
Is that
But
is
they're
that
so sweet.
wait, is that a blackberry? A mulberry is a blackberry?
It's a mo-
Oh, it's different.
uh-uh.
Okay. I got
Yeah, yeah. They definitely taste different.
I got you. Blackberries are kind of bitter tasting to me.
Yeah, and these are nothing but
Sweet.
sweet.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Mm, yum. So, anyways,
I'm about that music.
my brother's. Oh, I know. I know. Well, like, it might have just been last night. I came across a live that was playing Collective Soul. I love Collective Soul. And the crazy part was, I was listening with my headphones because I can't hear on my phone otherwise. All I had was my headphones on, and they don't get crazy. I mean, but they help so I can hear people. But like that music was vibrating me from the inside out. And usually I have to be, in the middle of the stage, kind of halfway back at least to get that feeling. And I was feeling it with my headphones on, and I'm like, wow. And then he played some more music, different music, and it was amazing the different music that I would feel from the inside out. I'm like, dude, you were playing soul music tonight.
Must have been a music night because I clicked on a live and they were playing music in it last night. So people must be coming out of that heavy energy and starting to lighten up again a little bit.
Well, music that vibrates you from the inside out, and all you're wearing is headphones,
Yeah.
and your body's still feeling it.
Yeah.
That's some interesting stuff I've never experienced before.
You're right. For sure. For sure. Well, what you been up to?
So,
old timey phone sound.
Ohm's calling me. I'm trying to hang up the phone. I'm trying to not answer that phone call. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh. I got you. I got you. Well, yeah, it's been a long time since you and I spoke. Is yours frozen? I think yours is frozen. Oh, good.
And I gotta turn it. Hang on. Let me turn on my do not disturb.
That's what I keep mine on
That.
not disturb.
Well, no, nobody ever calls me. Nobody
I
ever calls me.
I can't say I'm
So I don't even
surprised
think.
about that tonight. Honestly.
So, anyways, yeah,
Well, that's how we remember. That's how we met her.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the last interaction that she and I had was I would say like this. So I saw when I saw that she commented on the live, I was like, oh well, maybe she'll come around and it'll be good.
Hmm.
But instead, she calls you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
So
called her first.
it's stuff like that. Moving on, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. I let me tell you, I think Aura's been having some great, informative lives. I just love that man.
Well, I haven't blocked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I would like for it to be public knowledge because it's public knowledge as far as I know, but it's not a secret. I'm just letting you know because it doesn't affect that I love you, and
Right?
it doesn't affect what you get from it. I have my reasons.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, I just hate to, I hate to bring something up like that, and then somebody goes,
look,
"Well,
this is divinely inspired and orchestrated, and I just want you to be you, and I appreciate you. You know, you're
thanks."
pure-hearted. I like the pure-hearted, and you are one of them for certain.
Yeah, for sure. It took a lot of work.
Yeah, it does. That's what they don't
It wasn't
believe.
easy.
It ain't
Yeah,
easy being cheesy, baby. I speak for
yeah.
myself.
You see my feather back there on the wall?
Oh, I do. I did. I noticed some kind of art, but I didn't notice it was a feather till you pointed it out.
Okay, so I sculpted that out of drywall mud, so it's 3D actually on the wall.
It's beautiful. It is.
Yeah, and then there's the doves that fly out of the top of it,
Uh,
and they go all the way across the room.
I gotta come visit you. I'm gonna have to make a road trip where you at. Looks like you
That
like to just chill. That's what I like to do. Like sit on the porch. And
yeah, or put my feet in the lake, man.
oh yeah.
I'm trying to find somebody. I'm not real self assured with my knee to go to the lake alone yet, but I really want to get to the water. It'll start calling me, and I won't have a choice but to go, whether I go by myself or not.
You have a lake close by you?
20 minutes away.
Okay. I'm right,
Yeah.
right next to Lake Michigan, like 10 blocks away with that.
See, and I can't even imagine those lakes up there because they're huge.
Oh, Lake Michigan looks like the Caribbean. You can't
Yeah.
see anything. It just goes and goes and goes. It's blue. It's real blue green. It changes all the time. The sand is white and it's like the Caribbean, except there's no jellies, no sharks, no salt water, and it's cold. It's cold. It's cold till September.
Really?
And then about August, late August and early September, you get it nice to go in, and the rest of the time it's cold.
I bet. I
Yeah.
bet it is.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I love the water, and it does call to me. It does call to me because I put my feet in the water. That's all I need in the water is my feet, and it's just like instant. It's awesome. Yeah, it's my serenity. The mountains, the Rocky Mountains, and the water are my two favorite things
I don't know.
that give me
Yeah, I
serenity.
did go to the Rocky Mountains one time.
Well, to me, if they're not the Rockies, they're not mountains.
Okay, because I went to Park City, Utah, and that was a mountain.
Yeah, those are the Rocky Mountains.
They are?
Yeah, yeah, the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains start up in Canada, and come through. Like I don't know what the first states up there are, but they come through Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, on down to Mexico. I mean, it's a long range.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. When you said that, I
Mhm.
thought you meant Tennessee.
Oh no, the Smoky Mountains? No,
Oh,
those are
that's
only
smoky. I got you.
those are only about 7,000 feet. They're about
That's what I was like.
half
I
the
think I've
size.
seen that. It wasn't the same for me. Yeah, I got you.
Those are about
Okay.
half the size of, but they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong, they're
That is
beautiful.
not what
You
you're
know,
talking about. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. I'm talking,
Yeah, you're
yeah, I'm talking
right.
about above the tree line and shit, where there's glaciers and you could
Yeah,
almost touch a cloud.
that's right. And
Yeah.
when you ski down it, you get scared. But you gotta
Oh,
keep going. You gotta lift the whole.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm all right on the bunny slopes. I'm okay on the bunny slopes. It's
Almost, almost unalived a lady on the bunny slope.
I did too. I didn't do too bad on the greens, but my ex husband and I went skiing once, just once,
Once for reason.
and and we would go down a green slope, and then I'd stay, and he'd go ski, and he'd come back, and then we'd go together, and I thought it was working just fine until he took me down a black slope.
Oh damn! Culture shock.
Yeah. Well, I ended up on my ass, and I lost one of my skis up there, so he had to go up there and get my ski because I wasn't going to get it. And I did make it down without flying off the mountain. But I told him, I said, okay, I'm done. Go ahead. Go ski with yourself because I'm done. I said, you guys might do that to guys, but you don't do that to a
No,
woman. No,
no,
never. You don't do it that way.
no! Oh my god! Culture shock.
So, yeah. Well, I mean,
In one
I
way.
grew up with three brothers. I grew up with three brothers, and they treated me just like they treated each other. They didn't treat me any different, like I was a girl or nothing, which I appreciated that. That's how I would have wanted it if they didn't do it that way, but they did do it that way. So then I never had anybody telling me I was a princess or anything like that either.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
But my brothers definitely treat me different today than they used to.
Oh, I bet they better. Is that you? You actually got on here from? Hang on, I want to tell you something. Hang on. Let me welcome. This man's from Gaza. He comes to visit my lives. They are going through it, but he still shows up. Mohammed, thank you for being here. You'll love her if you want to just hang out and listen. You'll have a good time. She's awesome. Of course, that short-term memory loss. What was we talking about? When I think about what they're going through, I kind of like go into a little bit of trauma, and I'm like, oh, it's just overwhelming what they're going through. But
Hi, Paradise.
we're gonna stay up, is what we're gonna do. So okay,
Yeah.
so they, you said they didn't treat you like the princess treatment, and then what? What was after that?
I said, but they treat me different today than
Oh,
they
there you go.
used to.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
Oh, I know what it
well,
was. Your birthday when you logged on, one was having a birthday, wasn't it? You
on my
shared,
birthday, what?
one of your brothers was having a birthday recently, not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And y'all were at a party,
Yeah, yeah, his birthday party and a band was playing. Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's two of us that enjoy celebrating our birthdays, and the other two like to pretend that they don't happen.
Nice balance.
Yeah.
Are you the youngest?
So, yes, I'm the baby, and I was the only girl that grew up. The four of us that grew up together, I was the only girl. But in '89, I found out that I had a sister I didn't know I had.
Oh wow, this is a new story.
So
I
for
think.
for 11 years, I had a sister. Um, and it was really awesome because I didn't know what that felt like. And I knew that I was pretty special as a sister, but having a sister, I really know how special sisters are now. So my brothers owe me even more. Because a sister will kick somebody's ass even when you're wrong.
That's right. That is true. That's the female in it.
So, yeah. So it's like the sister thing is the sister on sister thing is like the mother son thing, but with a sister and a sister instead. So, I mean, it was great. I loved having her. She looked a lot like our mother, more so than me. She had her blue eyes and the dimple in the chin and her soft voice. And man, I'm loved, but man, my sister was nothing but just spewing over love. She was awesome. But in September of 2014, she got septic and got to the hospital too late for them to help her out. So,
So you lost your sister.
we lost. Yeah.
How long
But,
did you have her?
11 years.
11 years.
Mhm.
So y'all were adults when you found each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
man. I'm so sorry to hear that. Bummer, man.
Oh, no.
Wow.
It's cool. It's cool because she wanted to leave anyways.
Really? You
She
tell.
well, she'd kind of given up on humanity a little bit,
Oh, that's
and that's too bad because humanity's really not as bad off as people think that it is.
Mhm.
It's just the people with the good, true, authentic hearts were spread out. We got to be spread out. We can't be all in one place. We got to be spread out to keep the balance. So, um, we just have to lead by example because we do, whether we want to or not. We just have to lead by example and make sure that we're walking our talk and not just giving lip service. Because nobody likes lip service, and nobody likes just talk. So, don't be a hypocrite. Walk what you talk, man. And that's what you got to do. And that's the way you change things, because the first person that you have to worry about changing in order to get the world that you want is you. So, I started writing a book. Not that I'm into being an author or anything, but just everything kept shoving me that way. And it's called "It's Not You, It's Me." At this point, that's the title. It's not you, it's me. And what it is it's going to be a toolbox for it's tools for your life's toolbox. Because so many people these days have been raised and brought up in dysfunction that they don't truly understand what is love and what is dysfunction. Because in love, there's no hate, there's no ill will, there's no physical aggression, there's none of that. That is dysfunction. That is not love. And I know that I was confused about it myself. I found out, I want to say maybe 6 years ago, that I had shut my heart off to receiving love. That was how I was protecting myself. And I didn't even know it. I really had no idea. It was just diving inside and looking around and seeing where my perception was off and stuff as a child about things, and seeing things for how they actually were. Like, I used to be gone a lot, especially during the summer, on weekends. But when school was in, I had to be home. And I thought my mom didn't like me. I thought she didn't like me. And it wasn't that. She was protecting me. She was keeping me away from the dysfunction that was happening in the house. So, and then so me and my stepdad, we didn't get along. We didn't get along. We didn't see eye to eye. We didn't see nothing the same very often. And he'd much rather me being gone. And he actually was stupid enough once to give my mother that ultimatum. Yeah, we were leaving. She wasn't staying. So he changed his attitude. But anyways, it wasn't until a few years after I lost my mom, which I lost my mom at the age of 16. Um, I was probably 19 when my dad and I sat down and had a conversation about why we couldn't get along. And he said, "Do you think it's because we're so much alike?" I said, "Nope, ain't got nothing to do with it." He said, "Well, what do you think it is?" I said, "I think it's because my biological dad whipped your ass." I said, "And you've held that against me my whole life. That's what I think." And I said, you could give that some thought and let me know what you decide. And he decided that I was probably pretty right on the money there. But that's okay because from that point forward, because I couldn't depend on him and I couldn't trust him when I was a kid. Because he drank a lot, so therefore he didn't follow through a lot. But after that conversation at 19, I did learn to trust him and I could trust him and I could depend on him and I could believe in him. So that's when our love and respect for each other really grew from that point forward.
What a good
And
what a good thing to that, huh?
well, yeah, and just knowing that, okay, just knowing that, yes, you can learn to trust and believe in somebody that you never trusted and believed in before for their own actions. But you can change that. Takes a little time, but that can change. So I think that's an important message.
Yeah, it is.
That you can learn to believe and trust in somebody that you weren't able to before for whatever reason.
But let's talk about your open and receptive heart because there's two things I want to talk about tonight. Your mother, if you want to. I would love to hear more about your mom because you and I have had conversations before, and I keep learning more and more, and I just love it. And then your your receptiveness, because if your heart wasn't open and receptive to that, well, first of all, you stood up for yourself when you said what you said to him about that. So it took you some time to figure that out. But once you stood up for yourself, you gained some confidence. But it's about, tell me about when your heart was shut down to being receptive of love, because that's exactly where I am right now. I'm working on opening my heart to receiving love. And I just prayed. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but today I prayed and I asked, please help me to know how to receive love.
Well, so when I realized that's and it really was, it was from just doing the deep diving inside and a little fungal help.
What's fungal?
Oh,
I got you. I'm a little slow. I'm okay.
and and that's what helped me to see that that's what the deal was. And so what I did is I just closed my eyes and held my heart and said, look, I open my heart to receive the love of the universe, to receive the love of my friends and all living things. And I just kept telling myself that I opened my heart to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And
tell yourself that I got you. Just keep confirming
and
affirming it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, kind of. I mean, and that's really how we work, by saying it out loud. And there's more things that we should keep to ourselves instead of being of the talk therapy. Thank you, Oprah, but no, there are.
It all comes out.
But the problem is people like me, for whatever reason, I don't talk to myself out loud. Okay, I talk to myself in my head, but I don't talk to myself out loud. And when I'm around old friends, certain friends that I completely trust, that I've known forever, and that when I'm around them, I'm just and I just carry on. And that's when I'm telling them about whatever situation. And then as soon as I say it to them, then I see the answer.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I need to start talking to myself out loud, because if I talk to myself out loud, I'm going to hear the same thing I hear when I'm talking to them.
That's right.
And I'm still going to get the answer. It's just talking to myself out loud. So, the people that talk to themselves out loud, they got it going on. They know what's up.
I thought I was gonna have to leave work today because I was talking to myself out loud so much that I thought they were gonna be like, "Who the hell are you talking to?" And like, it was so bad. And I said, "But the shit that's coming out of my mouth," and it was coming out loud at work. I'm like, Tina, calm down. Yeah, I'm definitely that person. Okay, well that's good then. Okay, I'm doing that. I'm making that part happen. So that's, but I heard somebody said something a while ago. I heard them say that God brought their heart back from a rocky, like a stony heart. And that's how the heaviness sometimes feels in my heart. Like it's a heavy stone. And I'm trying to chip away at it, but I know that chipping away at it is not like it needs to be soft. It needs.
So to me, okay, so to me, that's okay. So me being a Sagittarius, my masculine side has always been more dominant, just for the mere Sagittariusness of me. Okay, and it's always going to be ahead. But when I decided, and I had to go through a lot to get there. Okay, firstly, I never really felt supported by anybody in my family. Maybe my mom sometimes, but I didn't have that support with being in sports or being in vocal or being in band or anything like that. But my girlfriends supported me. My girlfriends helped me to follow through with things, because I sure didn't get that support at home. Yet my brother, my youngest brother, he took me everywhere he went. He must have been my babysitter and I didn't know it. I'm serious. Because when I look back at all the things that we did and that we got into, and like he had this job at this steakhouse, and his job was washing dishes. Okay, he would take me to work with him, and I would wash his dishes, and he would be in the kitchen learning how to cook. I would get the waitresses their salads and stuff out of the walk-in. I was doing his job. He was getting paid, and he wasn't having to do no dishes. And he was in the kitchen learning how to cook steaks and shit. So even though it was good for him, it was good for me too. But like, he took me everywhere, and I don't know if he did that because he was my babysitter or just because he liked me. But he took me everywhere. So he supported me.
I want to know his answer.
What's that?
You gotta ask him one day.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what he says.
Well, it was funny. A couple Christmases ago, a lifelong family friend of ours and his wife were in town. So I went out to hang out with everybody. And Chuck and my brother were talking about some things that they did. And I looked at them and I looked at my sister-in-law and she goes, I said, and they didn't take me? What the hell kind of shit is that? And we just laughed, because he did have a life outside of taking his little sister everywhere. But I appreciate all the times and everywhere, and just the things that we did together. Yeah. Whether it was driving the back roads or shooting at fish in a pond with a BB gun.
That was fishy.
Whatever, yeah. Whatever we were doing, we were always doing something. But yeah, so it just okay. So it was like I felt real unsupported, and my body was showing me that. Like I felt like my back was broke. Like I was having a hard time being upright at all. And although I had to get my hip replaced and get some things fixed on me to be upright again, all those things weren't enough to cause the problems that I was having. So the bottom line is, whatever it is that you think that you need from somebody else, that's not where you need it from. You need it from yourself. Okay. If somebody's not loving you right, that's because you're not loving you right, or you're not loving you enough. You have to support yourself. You have to show up for yourself, because there is nobody else that is going to show up for you but you. There is nobody else that is going to be there 100% for you but you. Mm-hmm. Now, in life, along the line, you may meet some people that are on your level or higher than your level. I mean, vibration level, that are going to be good people, that are going to be supportive people, that are going to lift you up, that will be there for you. But before you get to those people, you got to learn how to do that and be that for yourself. Because if you can't be that for yourself, you can't be that for anybody else. If you are that for anybody else, it's kind of like being a hollow shell. Because you're there, you show up for other people, but you know they're not going to show up for you. You know they're not going to give back. Or if they do give back, it's going to be very minimal, breadcrumby, you know. So the way you change things is you change them within yourself, and you get a different perspective, you get a different view, but you got to show up for yourself 10 toes down every day. And you got to decide, you know, what matters. And it's not material things that matter. You know, it's not. It's the bonds that you make with people. And if you never have more than 5 great friends, consider yourself immensely lucky that you have 5 great friends. Because authenticity is hard to find. And I've been able, since showing up for myself and being there for myself, because there was nobody else going to be there for me. Like after my surgery, you know, the doctor really wants you to have somebody around at least for 3 days. And I didn't even have that going on. And I was on the pity pot about it for about 2 weeks and 2 days. And then I'd had enough. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. So that night I started listening to positive affirmations. And then I started listening to healing frequencies while I slept. And the next day it already made a big difference. And I just kept doing it. And positive affirmations, I know people feel very strange about saying them and doing them. Okay, well, get over it. Look at yourself in the mirror and say them, because they're real and they make a difference. You've got to talk to yourself sweetly and nicely. You have to be your own best friend. You have to be your own hero. And you have to know that you can do it by yourself. Whatever it may be, you can do it all by yourself. The thing is, it's much easier when there's 2 or more doing it. I love being a team player. Yeah. I'm such a team player. Let's play some baseball instead of bowling. I don't know. But you're on a team bowling too, but I mean, you know, I'm not going to be a cross country track star because that's a single. No, I like being part of a team. The collaboration and the ideas that spark off of one another, and that's what suits me best. And I know that, you know, but there's some things that I need to do and get done and accomplish myself first before I'm going to be allowed to have reap the rest of my harvest, shall we say. But I've always looked at being a better version of myself. It's just something that's naturally within me. And like I was a state hospital, mental health hospital employee when it dawned on me I was being a martyr. And I'm like, oh, hell no, we're not having none of that. We're not being a martyr. Nope.
Tell me about that. Tell me about how it feels to be a martyr. Like, what is that?
Well, you know, it's when you do for everybody else. You know, I was being a mom, so I was doing mom things for my daughter, getting her where she needed to be, getting myself in debt so she could have a horn to play. You know, I was doing for my husband. And, you know, the thing is I worked 40 hours a week too, but it didn't matter. I was expected to handle the house and the bills and get them their whatever they needed. And I didn't have anybody giving back to me. That's right. Because like all the dishes would be dirty from them too. Nobody's doing no dishes, but they're dirtying them up. So I put all but one plate, one bowl, we each had one thing of everything, and the rest I put away.
Yes, indeed.
I quit doing their laundry. When I quit doing their laundry, because Diana would have clean laundry with dirty laundry that she
Yeah.
never put away. And I just got tired of his shit being on the floor beside the hamper. So when he started doing his own laundry, his clothes started making it in the hamper.
Uh-huh.
That's when I should have left. That's when I should have left.
Yeah, boy, that hindsight's 2020.
But I mean, and the reason I left was because of me, because I wasn't happy where I was, and I didn't like where my life was at, and I left because of me. I didn't leave because of him.
So when you were at
He
the mental health place, you realized that was going on. That's when you realized all that what you just said was happening. When you
that
started
I
realize,
that I was being a martyr. Yeah,
okay, so that's what was going
yeah.
on. Okay, I got you.
Because I would sit there and complain about all these great things that I did for everybody and how nobody did for me. Well, did I ask anybody to do anything for me? Probably not.
Okay, okay.
It wasn't until I had my gallbladder out, and then 2 weeks later, I got an abscess at one of the incision sites, and I ended up having to go back and forth every day to get it packed and repacked and that. So I had to have somebody drive me, and I went and asked this little old fella that he was kind of like my surrogate dad. I had to go ask him because he was the only one around that might do it, and I went and asked him, and he said, "Well, sure, no problem." And I just had big old tears in my eyes, and he said, "What are you crying for?" And I said, "Because I hate asking people." He said, "Oh, stop." He said, "I'll take you. I'll take you." And it was, I mean, I had a hard time asking people to help me because I didn't feel like I should have to. Not that I'm better than asking somebody to help me, just I didn't feel like I should be able to lean on other people because I was so used to people leaning on me.
Would it be, in other words, worthy? I didn't feel worthy.
Um, I don't know. I think it's part of the people pleasing thing, maybe. How are you going to people please if you're asking other people for help?
Yeah, you're right. Because when I
Can,
got up
can,
under, I was a people please. I'm working on it, but mine was. I felt unworthy. I felt like if all the eyes and sights and everything, like you just said in a different way, was on everybody else, then nobody would be looking deep down in me and what I felt was wrong with me. That's why I felt like I people pleased. But it's different for you.
yeah,
Not the same for you.
yeah. Yeah. People please. No is my most favorite word these days, and I don't care if anybody's pleased or not. That's not for me. It's not for me to please them. They need to learn how to please themselves.
Yeah, you're right.
Because what people don't understand is whether we want to admit it or not, we are all about ourselves. We truly are about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. We need to make ourselves number one, and we need to make our self-care our number one priority. Because if we don't have our health, and our minds, we're not doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have our health. The longer we have our health, the longer we can help other people and be there for other people and make changes that we want to see made in the world. And if we're not in good health, how are we going to be those things? We're not. We're not. You could just have a disability and still be all those things. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you can't change the world. Doesn't mean that you can't make a difference. It means that you have to find a way to do things differently than you used to. Because you can still do those things. It's a matter of finding that way. So you get outside the box and figure out a new way how to do the old things. Or find a new way to do new things. But you're just going to have to find a different way. And that's the easiest thing to do, is find a different way instead of sitting there going, well, I can't. Because don't you remember, didn't your grandma ever teach you, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I know I can, I know I can, I know I can, I know I can. Get on the train.
That's the only book my mama ever read to me, is that the little engine that could.
Get on the train. Yeah.
I think I can.
And I mean, I found myself in that I can't. I found myself right there with my hip, And I mean, I was going through the motions. I went through the motions 3 different times to get my hip replacement done, and I got distracted for different reasons 2 times. And the last time, I'm like, nope, there ain't nothing getting in my way. I don't care what it is. I'm plowing over it. I'm moving forward, and I'm getting this done
Yeah.
because I was tired of humbling myself. No, I
Nice.
learned a lot of humility. I learned a lot of humility, but I know that I can depend on me, and I know how long I'm going to take to get something done. Depending on other people, having to depend on other people and wait on other people to get what you need, whether that's water from the store or groceries or whatever. Not that I was ungrateful to the people that helped me. I was very grateful and gracious to those people. But sometimes the wait was almost more than I could bear. So that's when I started playing a lot of video games on my phone to kill time and to keep myself from getting major anxiety about things. And then it just kind of became a really bad procrastination habit. And now that's what I'm working on, is getting away from the damn games. And sure, all I got to do is delete them off my phone. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Been there. Been there. Candy Crush was, well, first off, I started out with Brick Breaker on the BlackBerry phone. You remember that?
Oh
That's
gosh.
whenever I realized, if I can't say this word, it got me banned before. Not like broken, but like if you get cracked up, like it cracks
Yeah.
you up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's when I realized if I was an addict, it would be that on Brick Breaker. I said, this must be
Yeah.
what an addict feels like. I couldn't stop playing Brick Breaker. And then it was Crush. I know exactly what you mean. And it was a lot of stuff that I did it because there were things that were out of my control. And I thought, why am I going to stress out? I'm just going to play games.
Yeah. And it became a really bad habit. It became a bad habit. But it was a good solution at the time for the situation. And because I'm a go-getter. I'm a get her done kind of person. I learned in junior high school that if I put my assignments off to the last minute and I didn't read any of the shit at all I was supposed to, I was going to be scrambling the night before it was due. I was going to have anxiety, not just the night before it was through. I was going to have anxiety the entire time because I'm worried about it, but I'm not doing it. But I'm worried about it, but I'm not doing it. So I said, forget this. And I started doing my whatever assignments they were right away so that they were done. And I didn't have to deal with anxiety anymore because the shit was done. So I quit being a procrastinator back in junior high school. And then I suffered from racing thoughts at bedtime. And I despised my husband because he could be asleep in 5 minutes. So what I did is I got a notebook. And I would write down in the notebook the things that I needed to get done this week, the things that I needed to get done tomorrow, whatever. So I didn't have to lay in bed and think about it because the shit was in my notebook right there on the table. So getting a notebook and writing down the stuff, that helped. And then I'm like, okay, this guy here, 5 minutes, this is ridiculous. But I used him to go to sleep myself. So I would put my hand on his chest, right? So now my hand's going up and down with this breathing. And before I know it, I'm breathing with him. I'm breathing in time with him. And then I just start focusing on his snoring and I'm out. So I could be out in 10 minutes or less by putting my hand on his chest and focusing on his breathing and going from there. And those are the things that kept me from mind racing and helped me to go to sleep quicker. It really sucked after we got divorced because I had no snoring to go to sleep to.
Damn. I cannot stand snoring. I can't. I can tell if these dogs snoring or a baby snoring, but other than that, I can't even handle it when I wake my own self up when I'm snoring. Oh my God, was that me? You're the only one here.
Yeah.
Commend you for
I
that.
I wake myself up snoring sometimes too. I fall asleep during live sometimes. That's embarrassing. And everybody's like, "Oh, Jenny, don't worry about it. We'll just shut off your microphone. You're fine."
That's right.
And then I'll wake up and somebody else is live going, "What the hell am I doing in here? How'd I get here?"
I haven't to me
God,
all
did I
the
get
time.
did I drink last night?
I always pray. I'm like, I hope I wake up in somebody's line that's good for me, you know. And sometimes I wake up to some stuff, boy, but for the most part, I do pretty good.
Yeah. Well, so did I answer your question?
Dumb, because we went off the rabbit hole back when you said this is why I love talking to you. When you said that you went martyr at the thing, you were telling a
Oh,
story, and that was just a little something, and I took it and went into that rabbit hole, and this is where we just came back out. So, do you remember what you were
yeah.
saying?
So, well, I was talking about being a martyr, and yeah, I wasn't going to have none of that. So, I mean, I was working on emotional awareness my whole life without actually knowing what it was called or what I was doing, you know, and it just like, and I'm not trying to blame anything on John. I mean, I was with the man for 17 years. I still have a lot of love for him, but like we didn't have any dreams of the future and what the future looked like and what we didn't have any goals that we were moving forward towards together. And if you're married, you probably ought to have stuff like that you're moving forward towards
That would
together.
worked out for me and your
Um,
sister.
so well, and I feel like this. I feel like we get in too much of a hurry because we don't want to be alone, and we settle, or we think it's everything that we've ever wanted on paper, but we don't wait for that one person. And here's what I have to say, and I don't mean this negative to any of the men that have been in my life, but out of 6 adult relationships, there's only been 2 that I respected. I didn't know that at the time when I was with some of these other people. So that's 4 other people. Those 4 toxic relationships. I had no respect for those guys. None at all. I didn't know that at the time. That was definitely a hindsight kind of thing. But my first husband, I completely still trust and respect his opinion about anything and everything. And I would still talk to him today if his wife wasn't such a jealous freak about it. I mean, we do share a daughter.
It happens, yeah.
But yeah. So and like with my daughter, you know, she's going through some stuff, and she's battling her own demons, and we don't talk a lot, and she says, "Mom, I don't keep in touch because I don't want to hurt your feelings." And I'm like, "Okay, so just quit being an ass. Don't be an ass. And you're not hurting my feelings because you're not capable, but don't be an ass, because I won't put up with her being an ass." And what I've discovered is when she has a memory or a thought or something in her head that's not correct, and I want to correct that for her so she has the right sense of the situation, she'll try to talk over me, and then she'll tell me that I'm being aggressive because I'm talking over her, and then the name calling will start, and then that's where it ends. But we're up to 20 minutes before we get to that point, so we're making progress.
Okay.
But here's what I know. Here's what I know today that I didn't know 5 years ago or 10 years ago for sure. I know that whatever she's going through, she has to go through in order to help somebody down the line.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to experience that because she's going to need it for somebody else later on. So that helps me with the disconnect between us. Because really there is no time and space, and there is no disconnection. And we're really in touch with each other, like on a telepathy kind of way. I mean, you know,
Spiritual level.
we feel each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we feel each other.
Yep.
So, I mean, the geography between us is really just nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're able to see things like that for how they truly are, and you know that connection that you have between you, because it's a bond that we have that will never go away no matter where we are. And so, I mean, all I have to do is think about her, or all she has to do is think about me, and we know it's time to connect. Whether she's going to be a butthead or not, we still try.
Gosh, there must be like a global thing happening. But I'm gonna tell you something. This is something I learned, and this might take it for whatever you want. But I went through this with my daughter too, and my mom. I learned with my daughter because she would say things that were bogus. Like some of it was true, but some of it was inaccurate. But that's how she saw it, and that was her perception of it. So that was her reality. And so then I progressed in my own healing and my own learning. And then I would get to spots where I realized, what if I did not perceive it the way that it was? Like, what if I hell bent on having it to be in my little perfect bubble so that I wouldn't allow myself from her perspective. So my sons enlightened me to things that I didn't their perspective when I got older. And I was like, damn. So what I'm doing with my daughter is just let her say it. Just let her get it out. But we still don't talk like we'll go have dinner or something. We still don't like she got her own life. Same thing what you said.
Well, I tell you, my daughter has taught me how to be a much better listener. I mean, I always thought I was a good listener, but not always when it came to her, right? So instead of listening to her when she was in one of her moods or whatever, instead of listening and getting underneath things, I'm not real good with between the lines, and I'm not real good with subtlety. Just be direct, man.
Yeah.
And be, sometimes you can be direct with me and I'm like, what? So, but she has taught me to be a better listener. But she's got to figure out what it is that she wants. Because even if you give her exactly what she wants, then she changes her mind and that's not what she wants anymore. So I love her, and I know that she's going to make it through this because, first of all, she's protected. I talk to my ancestors and I talk to my guides and all the time and ask them to make sure that they look over her and keep her safe. But I also know that she is my daughter and she is strong. She's like, okay, I'm not your basic bitch. I am a bitch sometimes, but I'm not a basic bitch. But okay, so I'll give you this. What does a witch ride?
A broom?
Okay, so what does a bitch ride?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
A Hoover. Okay, so what does a stone cold bitch ride?
Oh my gosh, a rainbow vacuum cleaner.
A red hot poker.
Oh God.
Because she's stone cold.
Okay.
And then the bitch that nobody ever wants to see is a bitch on rollerblades with jet engines.
Oh my God, I can't even stand up on rollerblades.
You don't need them. You don't need to stand up because you got jet engines.
Hell yeah.
and the faster something is, whether it's your computer, your car, or whatever, the quicker you get messed up on it, right?
Right.
Anyways, my daughter is very capable of being a stone cold bitch. And it's a beautiful thing. I could never be that way, but she could do it very well. But she's also one of the most kindest people and thoughtful people I've ever known.
Yeah.
And in the cities, when she lives in the cities, she really goes out of her way for the homeless and does special things for them. And she doesn't tell anybody about it. But like, I was getting in her car one time and she said, wait, I got to clean off my passenger seat. And I'm like, well, what's all this mess? And she's like, well, Okay, these bags over here are for the men, and these bags over here are for the women because they need different things. And I hand them out to the homeless on my way to work and on my way home from work.
Mm.
You know, um, not that it was a lot. It didn't matter. She was still putting in the effort.
That's right.
You know, so that's just it. I know the person she is, and her fight is with herself. We're our own worst enemies. We're our only enemy. We are truly our only enemy when we're here on earth, because there ain't nobody else that we got to fight but ourselves. And I don't know what causes some of us to make life harder than it has to be, but we do. And simplify it, simplify it, simplify it. Get back to the basics. That's all you got to do to make life easier. And I want to teach people emotional awareness, because what we feel and what our emotions are two different things. And if you look it up on the internet, you're going to get two lists, one for feelings and one for emotions, and they're going to overlap each other, and that's not it. Our feelings are literally what we feel with our fingers and toes, what we feel within our body, because our body tells us everything we need to know about anything, whether it's people, places, or things. Our body will tell us because it knows faster than anything else. You just got to learn to be aware and pay attention to your body and learn what the different things your body does is telling you. Whether that's goosebumps, an itch, a sneeze, a high pitch in one ear or the other, depending on which side it's on, means yes, confirmation, or no, not confirmation. Okay. Our body, more than just our gut, our body tells us everything that we ever need to know. The thing is nobody told us that, and nobody told us, hey, learn what your body's telling you. But it's really true. Learn what your body's telling you, because your body will, like the way you speak to somebody. Mm-hmm. Is there a certain person that comes around that your tone just changes, and you can't stop it. You can't stop that tone. You're just, when that person's around, you're going to talk in that tone or with that volume, because your body already knows that person is not, no, they're not being honest. They're not being real. They're trying to, or whatever, but your body knows. So when you start recognizing things like that, oh, I talk to this person in a certain way that I don't like to talk to anybody. So generally what we do is we just get those people out of our lives and we don't let them come around. But there's always going to be adversity. We got workplaces. If we got kids, we got places we got to go with our kids. There's always going to be something or someone that rubs us wrong. And the first thing I ask myself when somebody rubs me wrong is, okay, what about me is like them? What about them is like me? That's what I evaluate first, trying to figure out, if there's parts of me that I haven't accepted yet, or there are parts of me that I don't like so much. Is that why I don't like them? Because they have those parts about them too? Or is there something really, I don't want to know this person, Those are the things that I ask myself first, because I want to make sure it's not because there's a likeness that I don't like about us. Okay. And so that's how I evaluate that. But I also start paying attention to how I speak and interact with people, because that tells me a lot too about who I want to be around and don't. But like I said, there's times that you're going to have to be around people that maybe you don't feel like you jive with. And that's okay, because you can be respectful. You don't have to respect somebody to be respectful. And you respecting other people or being respectful of other people doesn't have nothing to do with them. It has to do with you and who you are. And the person that you truly are, that's who you want to portray, no matter what the situation is. You want to portray the authentic you. So in order to do that, you need to see, or find a way to see, that being respectful in the face of disrespect is truly the way to be. Because being disrespectful, an eye for an eye just doesn't get anybody anywhere. And that doesn't bring us closer to the world that we truly want here, which is love and peace, you know? So it's treating others the way you want to be treated and staying in the right now. Staying in the right now always. Don't worry about tomorrow. Sure, don't worry about yesterday, because the past is done. You cannot change it. There's nothing you can do to change the past, no matter how much you worry about it, how much you try to rethink it, no matter how much you wish you would have done something differently. You just take that done something differently there, practice it in your now, so that when a situation comes up again, you're ready for it in the new way, instead of how you did it before and you didn't like the way it came out.
I love that. How to do the puzzle. Um, I love what you just said, and it's 9:30, so I'm going to timestamp that to look for that because that's going to be a to be continued for sure. Um, man, that was really good. Said.
Thank you.
I'm a bit. Uh, yeah. So that's a lot to unpack, and I would have wrote something down on that. I lost my pencil, and I'm trying not to get upset because always want to blame the dogs,
Right?
and it may or
Well,
may.
what's the time? Do you need to write down the timestamp? I'll write it down
Well,
for
I
you.
got. I know it's an hour.
Oh.
I got that. For sure. I actually got a pen, but
I usually, I usually have pins around me that don't write.
that happened to me with the other pen. So I'm time stamping this for us, but that pencil's going to show up tomorrow. Watch. I know how this goes. All right, let's see. All right, perfect. Yeah, so wow. All right.
I'm telling you,
We must need some popcorn
just
now. We shifting gears.
I've learned so much about myself, and like this last year has been just leaps and bounds, and like more than I could ever have imagined, you know. I'd like to believe that pushing forward, I'm gonna make better choices. In who I surround myself with. And I'm not saying that I think that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. We're all equal. It's just that there's people that choose a different lifestyle than I do, and that's okay. I'm not down on them for that. But it's not anything that, you know, like I went with a friend to her 40th class reunion last night, dinner. She was a little nervous, so I said, I'll go with you. I had a glass of wine. Man, I was on one little glass of wine, and I just sipped it. I didn't sit there and guzzle, or no, I just sipped it, and I ate, and then I felt worse, and then I had to come home and take a nap. I wasn't planning on taking a nap, but I took a nap, and I woke up about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
and I was just like, wow, and it is amazing the things that your body that disagree with your body that maybe once upon a time that didn't. Oh yeah, like, you know,
I'm not thinking right now.
and the more well, by 9 o'clock it was really loud where we were. It was really loud.
You must have had a
And
high-powered strength in that wine too. It must have been like a.
and yeah, I don't know, but I mean, everybody was having a good time. There was nothing wrong with it, but yeah, I was ready to go, and you know that broke the ice for her. So today she went about her reunion stuff by herself, and that's cool. But if she would have wanted me to, I'd have went with her for that. You know, I get it. So, and she was one of the friends that called me at least once a week after my surgery, just to check on me, and that meant so much to me. It meant a lot to me. You know, I had a few friends that did that, and I'm so thankful for my friends on TikTok, because without them I probably wouldn't have talked to anybody at all. And those two weeks and 2 days that I was on the pity pot having a bad day, they were also very sweet to me, and they didn't tell me to get off the pity pot or none of that. They just continued to encourage me and remind me of things, and I'm so grateful for that. You know, I came to TikTok without gratitude, needing to find gratitude, so I started telling people what they were doing good, and I still do that, but I do it on other platforms too, not just TikTok. And it's amazing because it does. I don't need anybody else's validation, um, because I know what I do that is good, and I know where I need to improve. But it sure feels nice to see that somebody else recognizes where I excel.
That's right. I agree with you 100% on that. I did not know one of the things that has helped me, that is helping me currently to be able to receive love, is the feedback I'm getting from TikTok, from the people on TikTok. And it's people like you, because I heard you open up about your life, and that when I hear somebody genuine open up about their life, it helps me to be able to open up about mine, because I'm just opening up a little bit. My life was horrendous, and to hear somebody else that is willing to listen to me and let me tell somebody for the first time in my life some of the horrors that actually really happened to me, and that I was never able to tell a therapist, inside of myself still to this day rolling around, that is a blessing. That's a gift.
So back around to the beginning. So being here for me, 10 toes down, showing up for myself, depending on myself, is what allowed me to feel safe enough to soften my edges, to become more in my feminine, to become more balanced with that. Because my masculine, like I said, has always been dominant. And that's just for my Sagittarius alone, that was going to happen. So the more I showed up for me, the more that I was there for me, the more that I depended on me, the easier it was to soften my edges. Um, because I've always wanted to be the softer side of me, but was never really able to because I was busy protecting me and everybody else and standing up for the underdog and all that stuff. And so I was really into the more masculine side of myself. But today I want to be the softer side of me because people are more receptive to that than they are, the brash.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be. I don't have a problem being honest, and I don't candy coat anything. But I can be honest without being brutal. I can be honest with softer words. I can take a minute to think about what it is I want to say, so I'm still direct, but I'm not bluntly honest. I'm not going to hurt somebody's feelings with my honesty. Not that I can hurt somebody's feelings, but that's a whole nother story. Um, but I am thoughtful of those people that are on a different vibration level than I am, that don't understand that they're in charge of their feelings and nobody else is. So I do consider that somebody's feelings might be hurt, even though it's not me hurting them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the feeling of somebody else being hurt in any way, shape, or form. And that is something that I call it survivor's remorse. Like when somebody's not getting it and they're still in pain. And then I look back on the things that I did, that from my trauma, that caused people pain, that I know that they're struggling to overcome. That's a tough one. That's really hard. And I feel the energy from them, like in their pain, because I know what that feels like to be hurt by somebody. And so, yeah, that's a big one for kind-hearted, good people to just be sad about other people hurting. And especially if we had a part in it.
So that's one of the biggest things that I'm trying to really get into order, so that anybody can understand it. So that, because I think it's so empowering when you look at your life and you own absolutely every choice and decision as an adult that you've made. Now, whether you consider your adulthood from 16 up, 18 up, 21, whatever,
Mm.
because even in our teenage years, yeah, we're getting older and we know the difference between right and wrong. It doesn't mean that we're good at decision making yet. And I don't know that there's actually a wrong decision, because the bottom line is some of us take the scenic bypass,
Hmm.
but we still end up where we're supposed to be. We still end up where we're supposed to be, whether we get there directly or the scenic bypass.
Yeah, you're right.
So, there's a lot less distractions in my life today, and I don't let my emotions control how I act, react, or respond. And knowing how to keep my emotions at where they need to be and not let them be in charge. That's been a real big journey for me, because people always tell me you need to get your emotions in check, but nobody ever told me how. Nobody ever told me this, that, or the other thing. So it was just, looking inside and going, okay, so what is this trigger? What's making me get teary eyed right here? Let's think about that. Let's find the root so I can fix that. Um, you know, uh, just like for a long time in my life, I was always in a hurry. Wherever I was going, I was in a hurry to get there. Why? For absolutely no reason, except for the fact that when I was a kid, my mom was always in a hurry wherever we were going, whatever we were doing. And man, I knew if she grabbed my hand, I was going to be running to keep up with her. you know? And it's like, okay, so I told myself numerous times, okay, I'm grown up. I don't live with my parents anymore. And I don't have to hurry to get anywhere. I just got to get there on time, you know? And so then I went the other extreme and I started getting there not on time. so then people started to so then people started telling me I needed to be somewhere 2 hours before I needed to be there. So I'd be there on time. And I'm like, that's enough of that. You know. So I don't ever want to be disrespectful to somebody by being late for something, because there's no reason to be late. And it is disrespectful, I feel. So with that in mind, I do everything that I can to make sure that I'm not late. Forget that phone, forget those stupid games, forget your procrastination, whatever it is. I took a test the other day to find out what my procrastination trauma is or whatever, because that's what they say. Procrastination is a trauma response. So it's not because you're lazy or you did this, that, or the other thing. It's a trauma response. Well, okay, yep, I've had some trauma in life, and I know this though. I'm not the product of my trauma. I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim. I am a survivor. And I've even been a participant in toxicity, When I went back, or I allowed them to come back in my life, I became a participant. I was no longer a victim. So knowing that was really empowering, and owning every choice and decision I've ever made, and knowing that when bad things happen, when people stole stuff or whatever bad things happened that involved other people, they happened because I chose to allow that person in my life for whatever reason. Knowing exactly who and how they were and what might transpire because of that, I still allowed them, because obviously there was something I felt that I needed from them, or something I could get from them that I couldn't get anywhere else. I mean, whatever it was they might have been using me, but I was using them too. So let's be real,
Yeah. Yes.
because we feel people's vibrations, or we know who they are because we can see who they are and what they're about. So if we're allowing people that don't jive with our morals and values into our life, we got to ask ourselves why. Why are we doing that? Why are we, because you become, if you're not already what you surround yourself with, you will become what you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And there is guilty by association. So I want to be guilty of really highly intelligent people. That's what I want to be guilty of. Highly intelligent people that have solutions to change things.
Yeah, and a heart that is it's funny because they have a heart and they're having a good time and they're funny. They're not trying to leave people behind and be mean and
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing. We got to quit being so serious. We can be responsible without being so serious. And that's been my problem throughout life is being too serious. I find myself too serious. So sometimes people find my humor comes at the wrong time. But it's like, you know what? I don't know what to say in this situation. So I'm going to throw some humor out there. And it's
I
probably
love
going to be
that.
inappropriate adult shit. Okay. Because that makes everybody laugh.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I just try to be the best me that I can, and I try to pay attention to what comes out of my mouth before it comes out of my mouth. Now, sometimes I still blurt shit out, and I don't even know where it comes from sometimes, but then when I don't even know where it comes from, I know where it comes from.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's not me, but it's coming out my mouth, so I'm responsible for it.
You talk about talking
But
to
just,
yourself earlier. I say, which one of y'all said that? That's what I tell myself. Which one of y'all said that? I know. I got like a bunch up in there. And then they'll step up. It's like talking to the dogs and say, which one of y'all did that? And you'll know. But yeah, for sure. That's funny.
so yeah, when my mom died, when I was 16, I was a sophomore in high school, and um, my whole life, all I ever wanted was like my mom's time and attention, and she never had a lot of time for me, because she, like I said, she worked 40 hours a week, and then, there was the dad to deal with, and he probably got more time than anybody else, and stuff. I mean, I wasn't neglected. Don't get me wrong, and I wasn't. What is it? Generation X always claims to be abandoned. I wasn't abandoned, and I wasn't neglected, but I did grow up where during the day when you're not in school, you're outside.
Yeah.
Well, you're outside until the lights come on. Don't come in the house and don't bother us. We're doing adult things. We got business, whatever. You came in for supper and you went back outside.
Was that traumatic to you? That was traumatic to me at times.
Oh no, man! I loved it. I loved outside. So
I did too. But when we went like to somebody else's house, and we weren't in our own yard, and we had to be outside, I was traumatized by that.
well,
Yard, I was fine.
I never thought it. I never thought about it. We just did whatever.
Yeah.
Played outside, whatever, or played inside, whatever. But the smart thing is play outside. When you got friends over, play outside. That way they don't pull all your toys out of your toy box and fuck your room up and then leave
I love
without
outside.
cleaning it up
I
with
love
you.
outside. Yeah.
Like literally, my parents would tell us to go play in the street, and they meant it. So we'd be out there with a basketball playing foursquare in the street. We didn't live on a very busy street, but yeah. And so when my mom went, which was really unexpected, she had gastric bypass surgery done, and 2 weeks after that, she was in the hospital with a blood clot in her leg. And she was in ICU, but not very long because they thought that they dissolved that, and they hadn't. And so 2 weeks after her surgery, she was gone. I lost her on Valentine's Day. And I was the last person that talked to her, and there was something she wanted to tell me, and she was having such a hard time breathing. I said, look, I'm going to go get the nurse. Mom, you can tell me tomorrow. I said, you're having a hard time breathing, and I'm not liking it. It doesn't feel right. And so that was that. And then maybe a month after that, my dad didn't want me to go anywhere, and he didn't want me to have anybody over. So I was supposed to get up, go to school, come home, and that was that. And if I was at home by 9 o'clock, I was locked out of the house. I spent a lot of nights on lawn chairs by the pool, hoping there were towels out there so I could cover up and sleep out there, until he got up and went to work and the door was unlocked. And I even took the key that was outside the house and put it inside so I couldn't get in when he locked me out. So after that, I ended up as a child in need of care, and I got moved around a lot, and I really didn't give a fuck about anything, because my world as I knew it was over. And Every time I would find somebody that was willing to let me come live with them, my dad would get up behind me and call him and say, "Oh no, you don't want her. She's this, she's that, she's this, she's that." And I wasn't all the things that he said. The bottom line is he didn't want me to go anywhere. He wanted me to be there with him because if I was there, she was there, in his mind. But he didn't know how to express that. And we weren't going to get along. We just weren't going to get along. So the bottom line is the state decided to send me to live with a great uncle that I'd only met a few times that had been in McAllister Maximum Prison. And I don't know how he got a full pardon, but he'd been in there for the disappearance of a wife. And he was also a family known predator. And that's who the state of Kansas sent me to go live with in Oklahoma. That's how much they gave a shit about me as a kid, as a child, as a human being.
Okay, so right there, pin in this one. That is what happened with me. That's what happened with others that I know. The judicial system sent the children into predatory homes. So I did not know that like I know it now with you. But if you're willing, we're going to be cultivating that one in the future, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Because it's near and dear to my heart, especially with kids today. Like and I think that the government takes children away from their homes too much, and sometimes the employees aren't honest, and if it wouldn't be for the parents thinking ahead, they would completely lose their kids for good for no reason other than this employee just decides to say whatever they want to say, which isn't real, or whatever. It just there's so many things I want to get on a soapbox about. Do I have solutions? No, that's my problem. I'm lacking in solutions for the problems that I see. But
we're doing all. That's the helpless part. That's the part that makes this thing so over the charts. There are no words for it. Is feeling that feeling of helplessness. For 8 years, I have not been able to get to my baby. That was all I did was go somewhere one night, and they all took up with him. And he was abusive, so abusive to me that I lost everything to that abuse, including my last daughter, the other daughter, my everything. The things that he did to me was off the charts. And that's where my baby is, and he kept her from me. Hey, Chris. My guest just, we lost her somehow. Hey, Ma, don't click me. Thanks, Kat. With guest host. Hey, Ma, don't click me. Hang on, something's going on with her. Hey, Ma, don't click me. Thanks, Kat. Yes, please. Guest and you all right? What happened?
I had my do not disturb sign, or I had my do not disturb on. I don't know. It was crazy. It.
I know.
So yeah.
That we got serious on that one, boy. That was serious. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so we got a pin in that one for sure. And you were saying so that the state sent you to live with your uncle who had from the max and the predatory stuff.
Yeah.
And you were.
And that's where they sent me to live. And so the same year that I lost my mom, I found out on my 17th birthday that I was pregnant. which blew my mind. But it was when I found out that I was pregnant. All right, God wants me to stay here. I have something important to do. No idea what it is. No idea. And then for a lot of years, I didn't know. I didn't want to know what it was because I was afraid if I knew what it was, then when I did it, then I'd be out of here, and I didn't want to leave here anytime soon. You know, I mean, I want to have grandkids someday. I want to be a grandma. There's so much more I still want to do, but I'm not afraid of those silly ideations anymore. You know, I've been doing my work my whole life without knowing that I was doing it, just simply by being who I am, and my stories. Have helped a lot of people over the years. And when I moved back home 17 years ago after I got divorced, getting in touch with people from junior high and high school again is where I started getting some of that back about this happened in this grade, and they always carried that with them, and that always helped them do this or do that for themselves, and thanks for that. And it was amazing that to hear that from people. Like I said, we don't need to be validated by anybody else, but it sure is nice when people tell us good things about ourselves.
Yeah, I
And
fell off the heels for you right when I met you that day.
the
You
one
you stuck out to me.
You see,
and the one thing that people, the one word that I've always heard consistently from people is kindness, and that's amazing because uh, for some reason, because I guess I'm so mean to myself that I was afraid that I was mean to other people, but knowing that when they think of me, they think of kindness, that's huge for me.
It's
And
true.
I don't know why I got so mean to myself. I really don't.
Because that's where
Um,
you put all of that, everything that was coming at you. You saw how you would never want to be that way to anybody, what people were doing to you. This is my perspective because this is what happened to me. I would never
life's
want
been
to be
kind of
that
heavy
way.
lately.
But I think it also
This
comes
is what
from
happened
some
to
kind of
me.
spark
I would
that you
never.
have in
Life's
you.
been
So
kind
that's just us, huh? And
oh, I was getting my other phone so I could remind myself to look at the comments. And
that
so,
kindness.
yeah, well, it was us, and then it went away. There you are, drinking your soda. Yeah, that's me. I
More.
had two drinks here.
I need some
I
more
had
water.
two drinks here. I had coffee and I had water. I wanted to be ready for anything.
Yeah, you're right. I started drinking decaf a while back, and it was an accident. I didn't plan it. I didn't think, oh, I'm getting off caffeine. It just happened that way, and
Yeah,
I stayed off of it. I'm doing really good.
sugar's been my big thing to get off of. Sugar. I mean, because it's in everything, but like no added sugar. Like I'll eat cereal without added sugar on it. I mean, it still has sugar in it,
Yeah,
but it's natural sugars more than added sugars.
I eat cereal every single night. I'm a cereal addict.
See, Jenny D, that's me. That's my other account.
Okay, I did not see that. It's in the bottom
Yeah, it
here.
says that I joined. Yeah, that's my other account.
Okay,
So,
I don't even see that. Invite. No. Oh,
no.
oh, oh. Y'all in them stalker accounts, huh? All right, let me just see.
No. Listen to you. We're on TikTok. We're all stalkers. They just call us followers.
No, dude. People stalked me so bad. It was so horrible. I'm like, only this is my only account.
Yeah.
I don't even
Well,
want to know. Don't even. I don't even give a. Don't even. I don't even care.
I don't want to be mouthy and not be able to talk. So, I got a backup account I'm trying to grow.
She come prepared.
So, but, and so in the summer of '85, I was living with a different aunt and uncle in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And I don't know if it
What
was
happened
if
with
I
your
dreamt.
uncle?
So, okay. So on my 17th birthday, I found out that I was confirmation that I was pregnant. And so everybody else already knew that I was pregnant. Like my aunt and uncle that I lived with knew that I was pregnant because every time I'd eat, I'd puke. My teachers knew because I was sitting in class with saltine crackers and Sprite or 7 Up every morning. And like everybody knew but me. Whenever the shuttle blew up, that was my first prenatal visit at the Indian Health Facility, about an hour away from where I lived. My uncle had already been talking to my dad about that I was knocked up and stuff like that. My dad insisted that we get married, even though we didn't want to get married, because we knew that that's no reason to get married. The other adults agreed that we didn't need to get married, but none of the other adults were willing to talk to my dad. So in February of '86, I had the aunt and uncle from Muskogee came down to Atoka because my uncle was a preacher. That uncle, Robert, was a preacher. And so he married us in my other uncle's living room. And we went and stayed at a motel with a hot tub that night. And my aunt and uncle that I lived with invited us all, my brother and his wife and my dad, invited us all back for breakfast the next morning. So we all went back for breakfast the next morning. And as we're sitting there eating, my uncle stands up out of his chair, points his finger in my face, tells me to go pack all my shit, don't leave nothing behind, because you ain't ever coming back here again. Here's a check for the rest of your money in your account, and get the fuck out of my house. So my sister-in-law went in my bedroom with me and helped me pack my shit, and she said, "What the hell is that?" I said, "I have no idea." I said, "Unless he's afraid that Brian's going to move in here." And the bottom line is we weren't planning on living together. Like, we were planning on he was going to live with his dad and his stepmom, and I was going to stay where I was and just continue to go to school and whatever. Like, yeah, just because we were married didn't mean we wanted to be. We didn't.
Yeah,
so anyways, so that day I had $500 in my pocket, and I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I'd never been on my own before. Hell, I didn't even know how to do laundry. So I decided, well, let's go to Ada. That's where the Indian Health Facility is. And that way we'll always be able to get to my prenatal appointments and whatever. And we stayed in a motel for 2 days until I could find us an apartment to move into.
Wow.
And life just went from there. I spent a lot of time on the phone with my great-grandmother, trying to learn over the phone how to cook different things and such. And learn how to do laundry, because I really didn't know how to do none of that stuff. I really didn't. And so in the summer of '86, I had my daughter. I got my GED that summer because I knew I wouldn't go back to school for my senior year. Because I wanted to spend, as much time with her as a baby that I could. And then in March of '87, after I bitched enough to finally get Brian to stand up, because he wasn't making any money that was of any significance to help us, and so he decided to join the military. And I said, "Well, I'm going home." And so I packed up my shit and I went home after he decided to step up. And he's probably still going, "Well, I stepped up." And I unjustly put a geographical gap between my daughter and her dad, and he was a good dad. He loved her a lot. He helped with her a lot when he was around, but there towards the end he wasn't around a lot because he was working construction in Dallas with his dad. But like I said, it wasn't being real lucrative. And then when he finally stood up, I was ready to leave. So I own that
So
their relationship suffered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I moved back to Kansas. Yeah. I moved back to Kansas. Yeah.
Do you think that's why she was upset with you some?
Oh, no, because, no.
He was a baby.
Yeah, she was. She wasn't even 1 year old when I left.
Oh, so she really didn't like form this relationship and then miss her died.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, he would call and talk to her and stuff, but he made a lot of promises that he didn't follow through with. And so it just got to the point where I said, look, if you're not going to follow through with what you say, then don't call her.
Yeah.
And he's Army National Guard to this day. He's still Army National Guard. He's a sergeant major, and that's as high as he can go without an education, college education. But I mean, he went to school to do what he wanted to do, which is weld, and he's quite amazing at it, from what Diana said. And so, like, he did everything that he planned on doing. It just wasn't real fast in coming, but he did get it all accomplished. And that's probably why I still have major respect for him and trust in him. It's just, I felt really trapped because I was made to get married and I didn't stand up to my dad like I should have. The one time I should have, I didn't, because I did all the other times, but this time I didn't.
Well, you were probably
And
deeply afraid. Like you were
well,
very
sure,
vulnerable. I mean, your hormones were
yeah.
all, yeah, that's a major thing.
Well, and I lost my mom, and I didn't want to lose my dad too, and whatever. But I still should have, but I didn't. And so then I felt trapped. Here I was married, and I didn't want to be. I mean, like, my whole life was backwards, and I'm not complaining. It's just I did everything backwards. So
Yeah, that's the
when
word
I
that
turned,
that's the word I got, the actual word 8 years ago when my life fell apart. Like I'm like, what's happening? And the single word that came to me was backwards. And so I started to look at everything backwards, and that's whenever the revelation started to happen. So I feel that
yeah.
backwards for sure.
So yeah, and like, so I moved home 17 years ago, and in 2011 I bought this little house that I live in, which happens to be across the alley from my great grandparents' house, the house that my great grandpa built in 1930, and where I played a lot of games with the neighborhood kids, and I looked for locust shells, and I chased fireflies, and I had a swing, and back when I was a kid growing up, nobody ever talked about ADHD, and hell, I didn't know I was ADHD. If I was, I don't know that it was real strong, but my grandpa always made sure I had a swing, and I know that's why. That expelled my extra energy.
Yeah.
Plus, my grandma was always trying to captivate my mind or something. She was always doing things to keep me engaged, whether it was board games or being crafty or playing with my dog. I mean, she was really good about keeping me engaged. So, but my mom, like, when I wanted to be in the band and play the French horn, she's like, "Oh, you'll never stick with it." Well, she was just being honest. She was just being honest. And I did stick with it through my freshman year of high school. I did stick with it for a few years. So, I mean, and she wasn't saying that to be mean. She was just being real with me. And
I went
so
to that
I don't
the
falter.
trumpet. I know where she's coming from. I know.
But I loved marching season. That was my favorite ever. I loved marching season. I enjoyed that a lot. The halftime shows and
Yeah.
and the marching in parades and stuff. I enjoyed that. That was my favorite part of band, being outdoors
Very right.
instead of in a classroom.
For sure. I love the field trips. I was in choir, so we took the field trips.
Well, my freshman year, I went to this. It was a Catholic college prep school, and I went there because it was my boyfriend's last year in high school, and I wanted to be around him as much as I could. So it was expensive, but I went anyways. And I was in band and I was in vocal, and the band and vocal got to go on this trip. It was a 4-day trip. We went out to Colorado, and we got to see a dinner theater, and we got to go skiing or shopping, whatever we wanted to do. but along the way we would stop at different schools and we'd get out and play and sing and try to encourage people to come there.
Okay.
So it was a really cool
That
thing
is
that
cool.
you wouldn't have got to do anywhere else but this school. So it was really awesome. And let me tell you, those people that I went to school with, overachievers to this day. They're still overachievers, and they're such beautiful, beautiful people that really are out there doing their all to make a difference.
Heck yeah. You're one of them. Definitely one of them.
So, that my freshman year was the only year that I went there, but it was the best year of my whole high school that year.
Yeah, you're right. It sounds
It
like it.
really was.
Definitely sounds like it. So you were traveling from Oklahoma when you went to, or Kansas when you went to Colorado?
When I went to Colorado.
You were in
Oh, from Kansas. Yeah. Yeah. So we stopped on schools in Kansas and in Colorado on our way to Denver, or a suburb of Denver, where we stayed. And we stayed at a church there. We just had our sleeping bags and stuff. But that was cool too. That was no big deal. And it
Yeah.
was the first time I'd ever experienced a dinner theater, and the play was on Golden Pond.
Oh wow. Well, that's a popular show then, huh?
Well, and I'd never seen the movie, so it was a real treat.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I would much, yes, for sure. I saw the Adams Family as a play before I saw the movie, and I loved it that way. You've seen the Golden Pond now, huh?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I made sure to see the movie after I saw the play
Yeah,
because I thought it was such a great play.
I do agree
I
with
thought it was such
that.
a that I had to make sure that I saw the movie.
Yeah. I saw it
So,
with the Adams Family. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's a movie like this. It was good. Well, how you feeling
so
about it? You know we got a to be continued on this if we stop.
yeah, well, I'm whatever. I mean, it's. I put it this way. I know what my attention span is, and sometimes I get in these lives that I absolutely love, but I can only stay for so long because my attention span is only a couple hours.
I work on
But
Saturday, and this is my early Saturday, but I found that whenever I do the edits and the reposting, it's anything more than a couple of hours is like it's too much because I'm still going into a 3 hour one right now that I'm editing and getting ready to put for YouTube. So I learned from that I like to go like 2 hours is a good edit and the whole thing. But you and I, this is just we're not finished. Like we're gonna have plenty more. Like when I leave in for July, I got to see how the internet's gonna do because they never had good internet when I was and where I'm going to my son's house this time. So I probably won't do lives while I'm down there. But if I have a good internet connection, I'd like to come get you back on for another sit
oh
down.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
We keep branching
Yeah,
off
because
of this tree.
I really want to get information out there because I do feel like I have information that could help somebody somewhere. Um, you know, um, in life we find people that have struggled, we find people that haven't struggled, and just because the haven't doesn't mean that you can't relate to them and somehow, oh, my heart is tingling right now. Like I'm getting little tingles all around my heart right now.
That's good.
Like I've met so many good people in this world, and had the opportunity to see sides of them that they don't share with others, and it's been a real privilege. And I'm always out for another perspective of a situation, so that I have more than just mine to go by. I also know that I see things differently than most, and that's another one of my suits, shall we say, is my perspective on things. because whether you ask me or not, I'm going to tell you my perspective on a situation, because you told me about the situation. And so that means there's something about it that's important to you. So maybe if I give you my perspective of it, that'll give you two things to look at it from instead of just one, two views instead of just one. And I'm capable of putting myself in other people's shoes so I can understand exactly how they're feeling. And that's an amazing thing that I can do. But it I like being able to understand other people on that level, on their level. And it's just, I think it's important because people need that understanding, of on their level. Um, because if you sometimes they just think if you can't understand on their level, then you have no idea where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And so just identifying what I do differently, identifying what I excel at. Um, it's kind of been hard, but when I just think about what comes naturally or what comes easily for me, it's and I always thought I was a good listener, but my daughter, like I said, has helped me be a better listener.
They a little
And well, so my storage keeps getting full on Google, and so I have to go through periodically and delete things and stuff. And let me tell you, I started my Google in 2014, so I'm looking at 11 years worth of storage. Okay, and I'm not paying for any more. I already pay enough the way it is. I'm not paying for more. And going through my storage, oh my God. People, go through your storage, clear the shit out. There's stuff I'm carrying around in my storage that I've released and let go of otherwise, but it's not gone because it is in my Google storage.
I'm doing
You
this
know, the pet
every
the,
day.
the petty art the petty arguments, the screenshots that you keep because you got to keep score, all that ridiculousness, it's got to go. But in doing that, I came across conversations between me and my daughter that in rereading them, I see them differently today than I did at the time. So she had some valid points, and I can see those now. So they help me in adjusting myself. Those, I'm probably going to keep those because they matter and I see them differently. But from toxic stuff and, one up and stuff, that shit's gone.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep finding more of it, and that's okay because the more of it I find, the more of it I delete. But it's really important. It's not something that people think about. You're walking around with your past in your phone, you're carrying it with you,
That's right.
even if you've released it from your heart and your cords and your brain. Even if you've released it from all that, you're still carrying it around in the palm of your hand.
That's right.
So, people, please check your storage and go through it and get rid of what you don't need.
Did I ever tell
You know?
about the dude that broke my legs and his sugar mama and her husband that was an airplane pilot for the president back then?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I ran across some screenshots from that dynamic, and I'm keeping them. I'll tell you more about that another time. But I did
Right?
all kind of research on that because when I was in that situation, I felt like the investigation or whatever that I was found myself in, the knowledge that I gleaned and gained, that he was an airplane. She stalked me. It was terrible. He was an airplane pilot for the president. She was a nurse for the army. He came up unalived, and my ex was the gardener. So that sets the stage. So yeah,
That's wild.
I'm thinking. I'm seriously, 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 seriously considering putting that in a story in a writing. Like I could tell the story on here, and I probably will in parts, like I'm doing now. But writing it all out, it's just I got to the point where I was like, what point is it to even write it anymore? Because I've been writing for 8 years. I got a whole thing full, but and I started doing it. I started sitting down, doing just what you said, going through my writings and tearing out things that I don't want anymore and keeping the parts that is really good stuff. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take my time with it. If I do a little every week, prayerfully, I'll do a little every day. Then over time, I'll get it narrowed back down and all sorted back out. But I agree with you 100%. Go through your storage, clear stuff out, keep what's good, and get rid of the rest.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's very like it frees you. You feel freer on the inside of yourself when you get rid of it out of your phone. As strange as that sounds, but it's true.
Well, and it was funny because people would tell me that I was still carrying shit around, and I'm
No,
like,
no.
what is wrong with you? No, I'm not carrying. I let go of that. Like I'm so free from that, but I really wasn't because it was right here in the palm of my hand. So, but like I said, that's not something that anybody thinks about. And like for a good 6 months, I made sure that any live I was in, I brought it up. I tell people to go through their phone storage and clean that shit out. Cause I mean, I had 7,069 screenshots alone, and screenshots are either receipts of bills paid or yeah, the keeping score kind of shit. And I'm not about keeping score. It's not a contest. It's not a. If I got to keep score with you, then you probably shouldn't be in my life.
Agreed.
Um, if I gotta take screenshots of our conversation for later on down the line to remind you what you said, I probably shouldn't be talking to you. Yeah. So, and I don't like texting. I don't like texting anyways because depending on your mood, depending on what happened that day or that minute right before you got my text, is how you're going to interpret it. And when people tell me I'm being sarcastic on a text, I'm like, first of all, why would you think that? And what about what I said is sarcasm? And no, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just matter of factly, or I'm greeting you, or whatever. It's like,
Correct.
so
Sense of
I,
humor.
I, I, I thought I was a good communicator to begin with. And I might have been, but I found out maybe a couple years ago that I wasn't as good of a communicator as I thought that I was. And sometimes it's lack of knowing how to put into words what I'm thinking or what I'm dealing with emotionally, or sometimes I'd be accused of a horse, and that's not what I was trying to do. But what I know how to say today that I didn't know how to say then is, hey, I think we need to sit down and go over this, because until we figure out what the discord between us is, there's going to be resentment there because we're not getting anywhere with it. But you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to go over it because it's done and over. But until we go over it, we're not going to find the misunderstanding or the miscommunication that there was. So tell me that I'm a horse, but I'm not. I'm trying to get to the root of the problem because I'm all about the root. Get to the root.
Yeah.
Forget the band-aids. Forget the band-aids.
Yeah. That's where it starts, is the root for sure.
And anything in life that you're not getting along with somebody about, okay, it's petty. It's all petty. Life's about the journey. The journey's supposed to be the best part. So get to it and, love it. Love the journey that you're on. But don't get so caught up in, oh, I got to learn this and I got to learn that. And I got to learn this and I got to learn that. That you're so busy learning or debating or whatever that you miss your journey. Because I don't want to miss my journey. I've sowed a lot. I've planted a lot of seeds, and I've lived my life knowing that karma is real, and I'm ready to harvest the seeds that I've sown. So the best part of my life is just getting ready to happen.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. For sure. That's where I'm at too. I'm at that pivot. I'm ready for this.
Pivot, exactly. That's exactly what it is too. The pivot. Are you going to pivot? Or are you going to cave? Pivot or cave? I'm going to pivot
I'm pivoting right
on my
now.
left leg, not my right leg, because I don't want to mess up that knee again. But I'll pivot on my left leg.
I'm ambidextrous now. I'll pivot either way. However, I got to get this shit done. Back stroking, back bend. That's what I'm working on now. If I could do a back bend again, I'll be in business. I used to could do a cartwheel not too long ago.
I'll
I'm working on it.
I'll get there one of these days again. Not that I ever did them very pretty, but I did them.
I used to love doing them, but man, all that equilibrium got all out of whack. Man, we tore it up tonight. We
Well,
covered
that's
some
cool.
serious ground tonight.
Well, I was a little nervous about it, but I'm just like, no, because whatever needs to come will come, and I didn't think about it. I didn't think about what I was gonna say, and I just figured I'd let you lead me with your questions and just go.
You're
And
always,
so, yeah,
you're always a joy, and you're very smart. And I really love talking to you. I really
thanks.
do.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
I
You're
didn't know that I didn't know that I was intelligent until I was a junior in high school. Like I really didn't. um, and the way I learned the best is when I had teachers that had class discussion because I didn't always do so well just reading the stuff. But if I read it and then we had class discussion, man, I was on it.
right.
And
I
so,
love it too. Come to think of it.
well, everybody has different ways they learn, and I'm one of those discussion people. I learn best that way. You know, and if it's something that takes tools or you got to do something a certain way, just show me. You might have to show me more than once, but if you show me,
Yeah,
I can get it.
yeah. And let me show me once and let me do it. Let me get my hands on it. I gotta get my hands on it and do it. Like I'll follow your detail, and then I want to try it. And if I mess up, so what? Correct me, but I'd rather do it. Be doing it. You and I are a lot alike with a lot of things, and I love that about you too because I feel like you get me when I say things because you're that way about certain things.
Yeah. Well, and it's important. It's important that the people that you have around you and you circle yourself with, you know, you don't want them to be the complete opposite of you. That just never pans out good. You don't want them to be completely like you because that might get boring. So you want somebody from in the middle. Always surround yourself with higher intelligence. That's the way you get more intelligent. I mean, like I love talking to people and learning stuff from people because that's how I learn best. And hell yeah, I want higher intelligent people around me. And I'm not so sure that I always dated people that were higher intelligence than I was. And what was that
I
about?
definitely
I
didn't
didn't want to
marry
feel
him.
I didn't want to feel inferior,
That part. That part will get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We really sold ourselves
anyways,
out at times, didn't we? What was we thinking? We
well, we weren't because
back
we didn't
now.
know. We didn't know.
Yeah,
So
leave
it's,
it
when
alone.
you know better, you do better. And if you don't, well, you're an ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
All right. Well, how you feeling about it, woman?
I feel good. I feel good about it. I feel like, ask me tomorrow what I talked about, and I probably won't be able to tell you.
It'll be on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. It takes me. I'm glad
And,
we
and
have 30 days because it takes me. I'm pretty. I feel good about my time, but it'll take me a couple weeks to get to the
and
edit.
I like that. I like having it recorded and stuff so that I can go back, because sometimes I say some pretty amazing shit that I go, "Oh God, I got to remember that. Write that down
You really
because that
do.
came out really well."
Yeah.
You know, and if stuff's not recorded, or you can't get your hands on the recording of what you said, then you lose it. And I like being able to go back over it and check it out for things that I want to use again, because it came out so well.
You got.
So
I think there's actually a way I can send you this whole thing in TikTok. I think. So if that's the case, I'll send it to you.
that's cool. I appreciate that.
But I'll
And if not, I'll wait till it comes out on YouTube.
I'll definitely let you know. But I'll probably clip a couple of things. Like that first 5 minutes. Fuck. We went hard on that one. Whatever. I trust that everybody's gonna get it. Everybody's gonna come around. Everybody's gonna be, love and light like we want to be and live if they want to, and that they're gonna just get it. That we're all just gonna be kind to each other. I trust that. But I but I
Yeah.
but I am not swaying on allowing bullshit. I'm not doing that anymore. I always gave everybody and just let them and let them and let them. They'll figure it out eventually. But they didn't want to figure it out until they fucked me over all the way till I was done.
Mm.
And I'm done. I got showed, So I'm showed.
Well, and that's part of you showing up for you.
There you go.
That's part of you showing up for you. I'm not going to tolerate it. I don't fucking have to, and that's that. And that's beautiful because you're showing up for yourself.
Finally.
Well,
Adamant
some of
about
us
it.
take a while.
Yeah.
Some of us take a while, if we go with, we chose our families and we chose our lessons and we chose what we wanted to learn before we came, then this all was going to happen no matter what because of what we wanted to learn here. So, the people with the best hearts, we earned them. We earned them because we put ourselves through some shit.
There you
And
are.
we didn't even have to do that if we would have just kept life simple. But that's not how our life started, simply. So we just, we went with what we knew. And now that we know better, getting back to simplifying it really is the key. Because just the basics. That's all we need is the basics. We don't need more than that. And in America, we live in the land of way too much shit.
Oh,
And a lot of
God,
band-aids.
you done said
And a lot of band-aids.
that's that.
So,
Yeah.
so there was this one fellow I saw, and it's been a while back, and a lot of people call him a male chauvinist and just all sorts of stuff. But what he said was really true. Him and his family were, came to this country and became citizens of this country, and they worked really hard and they had different businesses and they're living the American dream. What he can't figure out is why so many people in America make no effort to live the American dream.
Yeah,
So and that offended a lot of people, but it's very true.
okay.
It's very true. So work smarter, not harder, and whatever it is you want to do, find a way to do that and make it your living. We all have value, and it's not about the mighty dollar, but we do need the mighty dollar in order to live today, in order to have electricity, and in order to have running water, and in order to be able to go to the grocery store and not have to go hunt our dinner every night. We do need the mighty dollar. So don't look at it like a bad thing. Just look at it as a necessity. It's just a tool, really, to getting what you need and making it a little easier than it was for our ancestors.
I like that perspective. I struggle with that sometimes because of the. I mean, my grandma would pick up a fish fry that was 11 cents cheaper because it was salt free because she had salt at home. So instead of getting the one that already had salt in it, she would get the one that was 11 cents cheaper because she had salt at home. That's the era I grew up. I know that they just kind of raised me. My parents were 16 and 18, you know. So I've always been very frugal about things and just I don't hate that part about me. In fact, I love that part about me. But I also have the other side of it that doesn't allow myself to think bigger, you know. It's weird. And there were times where I felt like I wasn't I feel like I've always been grateful, so I'm selling myself self short to say that I there were times that I didn't feel grateful. There were times that I took things for granted that I didn't realize I was taking for granted.
Oh, yeah. I think we're all guilty of taking things for granted for sure. For sure. And me losing my ability to walk without a walker taught me that very well.
Mm.
Taught me that very well about the small things that are so important because they're more important than anything else is the small things, the thoughtfulness, the just the small things. And we take for granted that we can walk, talk, see, smell, hear, taste. Those are simple things that we take for granted on a daily basis. You know, I got this tattoo of this cross and feathers. This here,
Okay.
this part here. I got this tattoo to remind me to be thankful on a daily basis because we don't thank the creator. We don't thank the universe. We don't say thank you for all the blessings that you give us on a daily basis. And you know, whenever people see tattoos, they always ask about them. So, in reminding myself, I wanted to remind other people too to say thank you for what we're blessed with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I've started just 2 days ago. I started listening to Jessica Heslop has a gratitude meditation that's 12 minutes long. And one of the comments somebody said, "I'm going to listen to this every day in 2025. Who's with me?" And I said, "Well, I just started." And then somebody came back and said, "I've been listening to this every day for 6 years." So I just,
And there's a lot of them, and I even make up
oh
some of
yeah,
my own,
yeah,
like you know, and I'll go with my news break or whatever. See, are you doing your are you doing your affirmations? And you know, reminding others to do them, I'm also reminding myself, and they do make a big difference, and they do change your attitude, and they do change the way you address yourself. You know, and we have to be more loving and more gentle with ourselves. The way we treat our friends is the way we need to treat ourselves. We're our own hero. We should be our biggest fan, and we should at the very least treat ourselves as kindly as we treat others. And
well,
if we don't treat others kindly, we better get on that.
yeah, well said. Yeah, we got that. I'll speak for myself. I got that polar with that. I am kind, but I tell you what, they shook that to the root to make sure I knew I was kind because the mission is I'm sitting here a free woman to this day. Nobody alive, not even me. For
Yeah,
sure.
my last toxic relationship, he used to say, "You have no self control," and I'd say, "You're still alive, aren't
That's
you?"
what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. And that
I mean,
sounds
one
like
of the
such a minor thing, but it's a big one.
it is a big one,
It's a big
you
one.
know.
I lost it. I'm telling you, when I tell you I lost my shit, I was so angry at the injustice. Yeah.
Well,
It was
yeah.
everything in me. It was everything in me to be sitting here a free woman today. And I am. So praise God. Praise our creator.
Well, and it's that and that's the biggest thing, and that's for another time, I know. But you know, understanding that other people's stuff is about them, it's not about you. Even if they direct it at you, what they say to you negatively is how they feel about themselves. They're miserable people, but even non-miserable people. we're about ourselves. Everything is about us. Our bad attitude, our good attitude, our our snide remarks and all that. It really doesn't have anything to do with other people. It has to do with us, what we're doing for ourselves, what we're not doing for ourselves, what we're procrastinating about. I mean, these are things that we do because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we know it. So then we kind of get a snidey attitude or whatever, and then we take that on everyone, and that's just ridiculous. It's
Mm.
childish, and it's stupid. So I refuse to be a 5-year old that's mad trying to get my parents to give me what I want. So I don't have any mad issues. Why get angry? Why do people get angry? Okay, if I get angry, it's probably because you're not doing something I want you to do, or you're not doing it the way I want you to do it, or the way I think you should do it. Whatever it is, you're not doing what I think you should, or what I want. So I'm going to be angry at you? Fuck that. I've found that with knowledge comes understanding, and with understanding comes acceptance. Because when you understand where somebody's coming from, you can accept them or not. So if you accept them for how they are, you're no longer trying to control them. Because it is the non acceptance and it is the controlling of other people that drive us truly nuts. So
Okay.
once you accept people for who and how they are, whether they are close to you or far away, it doesn't matter. Just accepting people and things for how it is and who they are gives you peace, because you're no longer trying to control them or change something that can't be changed because it already is.
Well, that part of
And that's where I found my peace, anyways.
I agree with you so wholeheartedly. And this is the what I learned for myself and the other perspective of why I did that. Because it's almost jealousy. It's and in fact, just for the sake of not being fully transparent or something, or risking the not admitting or being completely honest, I would have to say probably jealousy too. Because when somebody else is doing their due, and we don't when we want to control it, I'm speaking for myself, control the dynamic because of fear, or because it looks like they're getting something or doing something, and I don't know how to handle that. I don't know how to expand or open my heart, because my heart is so beat down and broken and hurt that I'm just trying to hold on to my peace, that I would rather be completely alone and isolated and not have anybody around me doing anything good, because I don't know how to handle them. So that's why I said I'll give it jealousy, because it's not really jealousy. It's that I would love to be free, to just be free, not in pain, not, and all of that. And so I kind of don't know how to handle when other people do that. So when I attempt to accept them for where they are, and it's like myself is so rubbed raw with a wire brush. I really need to be accepting myself. I need to be looking at myself and accepting myself for where I am, you know, and then takes me thinking, oh well, what they're going to get something I'm not going to get, and I'm not going to get that because I'm not going to heal. I'm just not going to be able to heal this in time to get anything that's going to blah blah blah. All of that perpetuates that victimhood. So so exactly what you said from that perspective, and then my perspective of seeing it from the inside out, looking at it that way, was that I need to accept myself, believe in myself, understand that I will get through this, know that I will get through this, know that it's painful, but everybody don't have the same mission that I have. And my mission is very intense, as is yours and many others. Our
Yeah.
chains, yeah.
And I know a lot of times when I'll share a story or whatever, or how I came to a conclusion of something, um, there's always seems to be the people that point out to me that not everybody's here for the same reason, not everybody, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to make it a blanket statement. I'm just sharing how I got here in hopes that maybe somebody else could use some of it, part of it, any of it. And I know that my mission and your mission is different. And I realize that people get where they get, but I'm supposed to open my mouth. Like, I'm going to make money with my mouth. And I know that sounds so bad, but I remember screaming it to my mom in heaven, I'm going to make money with my mouth. Just being a speaker and putting it out there.
That's right.
Because, and then with the book thing, if it wouldn't be for AI, I don't know where I'd be, because it's a great tool for outlining things and putting things in order and helping me shorten them down, because I sometimes get too descriptive because I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm trying to say. But there's a better, shorter way to do it. I'll take it.
I disagree. I disagree. The AI has been programmed by another human being. Okay. So that is their thoughts
Yeah.
taking away from your authenticity.
No,
Put it
because
in
it
different
just
chapters.
what
Put it in different chapters. So when
I
you
know, but it still has to listen what I'm saying, because it's way too much.
it's
It's way
not
too
too
much.
much.
It is too much, because I'm not trying to write a novel here. I'm
Well,
trying
break
to
it
write
down. Put
a
it in
self
different.
help.
Put it in.
But
I have to do the
that's what
same
I'm
thing.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's breaking it down for me.
But then that's somebody else's thoughts that programmed AI, and it takes away from your authenticity.
I don't think so, because like I let it break it down, and then I rewrite it. I rewrite it, like, because it shows me how to break it down.
But what
Like,
about the rabbit holes that some people might need to get that far down to get the to reach that? That's why I like talking to you. I like talking to you because you go really, really, really deep. And some people really, really, really need that. And when it gets cut off, they stick it to a top level version. But some people need to go down there with somebody that's leading a show that knows exactly where they're going to come out on the other side, because they get lost. And they don't need to be lost. And they don't need that shit cut off or watered down. And you're not too much. I totally disagree with that. I feel like you should write it, and then if you need editing, look, there's people that can help you with editing, and then put it in chapters. Like I got 3 different short books because I had to break that down because they go so deep. There was no way to do it in one. Then there's the novel. No, because there's no way to tell it any other way without keeping it authentic, because we didn't experience it with that one-dimensional bullshit that a lot of people got it. We got it all the way to the 22D. We passed the 5D. That's what people talk about, the 5D and the 3D. When you go to the dimensions that I've been to, it doesn't all that's it's frivolous to even say that shit. We know what's
Well,
up.
see, and I feel like when it comes to the dimensions, I don't think I don't think they're being seen for how they really are. They're not another place. They're not a parallel. They're not another plane. It's the dimensions are your mind, the openness of your mind, and the view of the big picture. Like when you're first opening up beyond the third dimension is when you're looking at the big picture on the wall in front of you, or the track, the football field, and you're on the track and the football field's right in front of you. That would be going into the fourth dimension, opening yourself up. Now, go up in the bleachers, clear up to the top, and look out at the football field. You've got a higher view. You can see more of the big picture. You can see more of the big picture, and so you have a bigger view, a better view. So the more you open your mind, the higher view of a big picture that you have, the more that you see, the more that you understand. That's what I feel like the dimensions are truly about.
Agreed. And that's what you telling your story all the way down each rabbit hole is doing for somebody else. It's helping them to see it from the top of the bleachers, from the bottom of the bleachers, from the 100-yard line, the 50-yard line, to in their self, within their own self.
So I have a friend that just showed up
Okay. You want to
that I
open
haven't
panel?
seen forever.
You want to
So,
open panel? Do you want to open panel?
well, you can, but I need to talk to her for a minute.
Oh, you need to get out of here. I got you. I thought she was showing up here, and you're like,
No, she just showed up at my door.
oh, I got you. Okay, look, to be continued. We got the replay. We
Okay.
got it all. All right, I love you.
Thanks, honey. All right,
Thanks
bye.
everybody for being here. Bye.